In this video, we're going to be providing an update on some of our favourite 90 Day Fiancé couples to find out what they've been up to since the cameras stopped rolling. Stay tuned to discover the shocking new revelations from Pedro and Chantel, and remember David and Evelyn? We'll be revealing why David has mysteriously vanished from his wife's social media and why she's no longer wearing her wedding ring. But first, Anfisa and Jorge. Anfisa is certainly one of the most divisive fiancés to have appeared on the show. From the very beginning, she was brutally honest with her intentions and made it clear to Jorge that she expects only the finer things in life. Many viewers didn't like her aggressive and materialistic nature, but truth was, when Jorge was jailed in 2018 for marijuana possession, Anfisa went back to school, competed and won body pageants, and she was very vocal in her support for her husband, making it clear she was going to stand by her man. Well, turns out she's changed her mind since, and events have taken a dramatic turn for the worst.
Since we've been married, he threatens to leave me every day, but so far she hasn't done it.
So far.
According to Jorge, she abandoned him while he was serving time and ran off to be with another man.
I hate being married to Jorge.
What do you think is the most important thing in a relationship?
Money.
Money?
I said love. Are you deaf?
Wow.
Photos on Anfisa's Instagram have confirmed that she's in a new relationship with Leo Asaf, manager of a Los Angeles gentleman's club. Interesting choice of partner, Anfisa. But wait, that's not all. Fans of the show were quick to point the finger at Anfisa and accuse her once again of using a man for his money.
He said he had money, he could afford it. He said he's gonna give me everything I want. And if that's what I want, he should be able to give it to me.
Leo has shrugged off the accusations and said she's an amazing woman who deserves a good man. With Jorge set to be released from jail very soon, he stated that he intends to deliver official divorce papers as soon as he's out. He also claims that his impressive £128 weight loss was what caused the fallout between the couple in the first place. He says that Anfisa was, quote, just jealous of all the attention that I was getting. For her part, Anfisa has responded by saying, I was hoping the time in prison would make Jorge a better man, but it seems like he is the same vindictive little boy seeking revenge. It's sad that he can't stand seeing me succeed on my own. Colt and Larissa. Stars of season 6 of 90 Day Fiancé, Larissa and Colt, or should I say Colty, had a whirlwind and volatile relationship. Within 5 days of meeting each other for the very first time, Colt, who admitted to being terrible with women, proposed and Larissa accepted.
After 5 days, I knew that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. So as we were leaving for the airport, I decided to propose to her. And she said yes.
However, there was always an elephant in the room right from the start. Colt's mum, Debbie Johnson. Colt described himself as a proper mummy's boy, and both he and his mum had to readjust to life with a new lady in it. Larissa, meanwhile, had to adjust to life with her mother-in-law, and she did her best to make it clear she expected to be the #1 woman in Colt's life. Unfortunately, it all proved to be too much for everyone involved.
Debbie is like a cat. She disappears, but she appears when it's the time to make your life a hell. I feel that it's not good for a relationship. Always live under mommy's skirt.
By January 2019, just 6 months after they tied the knot, Larissa was formally charged with domestic violence and ordered to pay a fine of $345 plus serve 48 hours of community service. And this wasn't the first time either. Her first arrest for domestic abuse was just days before their wedding, a red flag if ever there was one, and she was also arrested a few months later, again for allegedly attacking Colt. In total, she was arrested 3 times on domestic abuse charges, but 2 of those charges were eventually dismissed, and it's worth pointing out she also claims that it wasn't one-sided and Colt abused her too. Either way, Colt filed for divorce, and by April 2019 it was finalised.
I feel like Larissa and I are 2 different people. We're basically polar opposites. She goes from sweet to scary.
Larissa is still living in the States and has a new man in her life, on again, off again boyfriend Eric Nichols, and although it currently looks like they're back on track.
Was it kind of like a love or lust at first sight when you saw her?
Yeah, it was a very interesting scenario. It was a very windy evening. And I actually had to go run and grab my car. She wanted to go with me. I was like, I insist that you probably stay here. And she thought I was gonna leave her. So I actually ran about a mile to go get my car, and she was calling me. By that time I was outside.
Yet again, it seems to be a habit for Larissa that police were again involved in her relationship, this time after she filed a harassment claim against Eric. For his part, Eric did his very best to antagonise Larissa by posting photos of him with her ex-husband Colt and Colt's mum Debbie, something he knew would get a reaction from her. Larissa eventually dropped the charges against her boyfriend Eric, and it appears that right now the two have reconciled and are back together. As far as Colt's concerned, he's also made some major life changes.
I just want to have a good time and move on with my life.
Absolutely. Are you hoping to meet a new lady tonight?
Who knows? I have a beautiful date, so who knows what's going to happen.
First of all, he's got a new car with AC, he's lost weight, and he clearly has a thing for Brazilian girls because he's had a string of relationships with Brazilian beauties since the divorce got finalised. Pedro and Chantel. It's no secret that Pedro and Chantel have had a rocky relationship. From the start, the two seem to be at war with each other's families, from fistfights with brother-in-laws to family feuds and even private investigators.
Hey, what you say? Shut up. What you say? What you
It's a minor miracle that their marriage has survived so long. Since then, the couple have faced even bigger obstacles that have threatened to tear them apart for good. Pedro recently revealed that he wants his sister and mother to move into their apartment so that they can stay in America for good.
And that's why I want to bring my mom and my sister living with me to the United States.
Given the relationship between them and Chantel, that's awkward to say the least.
I am so furious. For Pedro to drop that bombshell in family counseling feels like such a betrayal.
And it also seems that Pedro may have some explaining to do about his sister, Nicole. As we found out throughout the show, Nicole and Pedro are pretty close. Nicole, however, recently took to Instagram stories to address the rumour that actually the pair may not be blood related after all. That's quite a shocking revelation, but the rumours have been flying around for a while now because of the way that he treats her. Many people have commented that he seems to always put her before Chantel, and there's even been some theories that his sister is actually his real wife. Now, of course, those allegations have always been denied, and Nicole has always refuted claims that she and Pedro aren't blood relatives, but the pair don't help themselves. Recently, for example, Pedro offered to put Nicole up in a hotel room, which he would then share with her. In spite of it all, Pedro and Chantel are still together, but it seems they're hanging on by a thread. They both admit that they have trust issues, and clearly things aren't 100%.
You know, we have like a little bit problem with Mary.
A lot of problems.
As we saw all too well when Pedro got a lap dance in the Dominican Republic as his family cheered him on. As you can imagine, Chantel wasn't best pleased with this and slapped him after she found out. They seem to be working through things, but all we can say is watch this space.
And now we have a little time more for enjoy ourselves together, like spend the time talking. She want to cuddle, and more cuddle.
Still to come, stay tuned to discover what happened with Eric and Leida, why Evelyn no longer wears her wedding ring, and explosive revelations about what really happened with Jonathan and Fernanda after they tied the knot. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for lots more videos about your favourite TV shows and celebs. Eric and Leida. It's safe to say that Eric and Leida from season 6 enjoyed one of the stormiest starts to a relationship ever. There wasn't necessarily a problem between the two of them, although the difference in lifestyles from her luxury life in Indonesia to a much more modest life in America did take some adjusting to.
My family is very well respected family. We live in a really good neighborhood and we have big houses and a lot of money. I went to Eric's apartment for the first time. And it's really horrible.
But more than that, it seemed that there was a real problem with one of Eric's daughters, Tasha, that Leida seemed to have the biggest problem with. In fact, Leida actually took out a restraining order against Tasha.
I want you to move out. I don't think that we can work it out.
But that's not all. In a heartbreaking twist, Eric took his wife's side when she demanded that Tasha be kicked out of the house, and he also helped her to prepare paperwork that would place a restraining order against his own daughter. Unsurprisingly, Tasha was unable to defend herself against the restraining order because she couldn't afford legal services.
To kick Tasha out is absolutely a horrible decision that somebody has to make.
She was also left with mental and emotional trauma after her dad abandoned her, and she has subsequently legally changed her name from Tasha to Alari. After the show aired, Eric and Leida began receiving death threats for the way that they treated Tasha. Petitions were set up demanding that Leida be deported back to Indonesia, and understandably, all of this took a toll on her mental health. In January of 2019, police were called to the couple's home after allegations of domestic abuse. Although the incident is still not entirely clear, it seems that Leida threatened to end her own life, and in an attempt to get a knife out of her hand, Eric pulled her hair, leaving scratches to her scalp. Despite everything, and despite the fact that Eric may have lost a daughter over this, Eric and Leida are still together. Evelyn and David. Season 5 introduced us to Evelyn and David. They got married in 2017, and Evelyn then went on to star in American Idol, and her fame grew. However, the pair came under fire after allegations emerged on Reddit that David may have been talking to Evelyn as far back as 2014, when she was just 15 years old. Fast forward to 2020, and questions persist over the mysterious nature of their relationship. In February, a flustered Evelyn had to post a video to her Instagram account that addressed his absence on her social media. She was also very keen to explain why she never wears her expensive diamond wedding ring in public.
The reason that I haven't been wearing my wedding ring is another reason that I've already addressed many times is that I do a lot of modeling, so I'm in the water, I'm on the beach, I'm wherever, in the woods, and it looks out of place.
Evelyn says it's because she works as a model, so spends a lot of time in the water or on the beach. It looks out of place, she said, before adding that she doesn't want to lose it. And on those allegations that David is nowhere to be seen on her social media, Evelyn, a singer-songwriter, claims it's because her Instagram account is dedicated to her music and that it would be odd to include random pictures of her beloved husband. Not just that, but David is apparently a very private person. Evelyn went on to confirm that the two are very much still in love and very much still married. Jonathan and Fernanda. Jonathan and Fernanda were one of the highlights of season 6 and were arguably the couple that everyone was rooting for. Despite Fernanda's initial problems with Jonathan's mum, who seemed reluctant to accept her, they seemed to overcome all problems and went on to tie the knot. But all that changed when Fernanda uncovered stark truths about the real man that she had married. You probably recall that on the very first night that she came to the US, Fernanda found underwear in Jonathan's house that belonged to another woman.
No, the first time I arrived here, I find a tongue.
I was so mad. I was so tired and all these emotions going on, and like my first day, and really? Another word from another woman, like I was so mad.
Away from the cameras though, what she found was far, far worse. It wasn't just underwear in the drawer. It turns out that there were also adult toys, home movies, and photos. I realised not everything was how it seemed, she explained. Fast forward to 2020, and after a volatile marriage, Fernanda is officially no longer married to Jonathan.
I'm officially single, officially divorced.
And even has a new man in her life. Fernanda took to Instagram to write, "By forgiving and closing chapters, you open your heart to more blessings to come your way. This isn't a failure, this is a win. Excited to see what God has planned for me." However, there are always two sides to every story. Jonathan spoke out and accused his ex-wife of punching me in the face multiple times. Her dad told me she's crazy, she has a temper. If his allegations are to be believed, then it seems Jonathan witnessed that temper firsthand. But Fernanda claims that she is the victim of his abuse, both physical and verbal. Whatever really happened between the two behind closed doors, one thing is for certain, this is one 90-day fiance couple that didn't make it. So what do you think? Are you surprised by the couples that are still together and those that aren't? Leave a comment below and let us know if there are any couples that we haven't included in this video that you'd like us to cover in our next video. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button for more great content like this. And once again, thank you for watching, catch you on the next video.